So very good morning, one and all. This is my third lecture on radicals in organic synthesis. So hello students, these are the points that we had covered in the last lecture. That is persistent radical. The persistent radical are those radicals whose longevity is due to steric crowding around the radical center. Due to this steric crowding, it makes physically difficult for that radical to react with another molecule. That radical is called as persistent radical. Persistent radical are the compounds whose longevity is due to steric crowding around the radical center, which make it physically difficult for the radical to react with another radical or the another molecule. That radical is called as persistent radical. And the examples of persistent radical are Gomberg triphenyl methyl radical, Fremisalt, then potassium nitrosodisulfonate, nitroxide, general formula R2NO, Tempo, Tempol, nitronil nitroxide, PTM, TTM. These are the examples of persistent radical. Then the next point we had learned in the last lecture, that is electrophilic and nucleophilic radical. So the radical center, so we'll see this electrophilic radical. So electrophilic radicals are the radical center is an atom more electronegative than carbon. That radical is called as electrophilic radical. And the example of that radical are electrophilic radicals are alkoxide radical RO, then carboxyl radical R2CO2, RCO2, then dialkyl amine radical, chlorine radical, and fluorine radical. These are the examples of electrophilic radical because the radical center atom, that is oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine, fluorine, this atom, radical center atom is more electronegative than carbon. That's why this radical is called as electrophilic radical. And the second one is nucleophilic radical. So nucleophilic radical are those radical center radical which atom is less electronegative than carbon. For example, trialkyl germanium, trialkyl tin, trialkyl silicon. These are the examples of nucleophilic radical because its radical center atom is less electronegative than carbon, because germanium, tin and silicon, these atoms are less electronegative than carbon. Then the next point is that we had learned in the last lecture is radical initiator. So radical initiator is a species that act as a reactant of the initiation step. These are the species that act as a reactant of the initiation step of a radical chain reaction. Say radical chain reaction, but does not participate in any of the propagation step. That species is called as radical initiator. Radical initiator is a species that act as a reactant for the initiation step of a radical chain reaction but does not participate in any of the propagation step. So this involves the thermal decomposition of weak bond like peroxide bond or a azo bond. So the examples of radical initiator are AIBN, benzoyl peroxide, tertiary butyl peroxide. These are the examples of radical initiator. Then the next point that we had learned in the last lecture is general mechanism for free radical reaction. General mechanism of free radical reaction. So, in general mechanism, the free radical reaction takes place in a three-step, that is initiation step, propagation step, and termination step. So in initiation step, this step involve the generation of free radical in situ by irradiation of light or a heat. So in initiation step, we are using light or a heat to break the bond between that molecule to generate a free radical. This is your initiation step. So the molecules, example is the molecules of bromine on irradiation generate two free radical in presence of H mu. So this is about first step. In second step, propagation step, the free radical formed in the first step can abstract hydrogen from the substrate and generate new free radical. And the third step, the generated free radical may react with another molecule to form a substitution product and generate another free radical. This is about termination product. The reaction get terminated. Then the next point that we had learned in the last lecture is characteristics reaction of radical, that is radical substitution reaction. So what is radical substitution reaction? So these are the reaction in which one atom in a molecule is replaced by another atom or group, that is called as radical substitution reaction. So to understand this radical reaction, we have taken the example, general example of alkane. So in that we have taken the alkane, and when alkane react with halogen in presence of light or a heat, you will get alkyl halide and HCl as a product. So the conversion of alkane to alkyl halide also involves three steps, that is initiation, propagation, and termination step. So this is the characteristics reaction of radical, that is radical substitution reaction. Then we had learned in that we had also learned the stereochemistry of radical substitution reaction. So the alkyl radical involving planar structure, and that planar structure, that intermediate is planar, and it is attacked from both the sides or both the faces with equal ease to form a racemic product. So you know that the radical reaction will always give racemic mixture because the geometry of that intermediate is planar. The radical, that carbon center radical is sp2 hybridized carbon, and sp2 hybridized carbon are planar in nature. So that's why the attacking molecule can attack from both the sides, top side as well as bottom side, with equal ease to form a racemic mixture. So you will get 50% of both the enantiomer. Then again and then last lecture we had learned allylic halogenation using NBS. So this alkene can be halogenated in allylic position by a number of reagents such as NBSN, NCS, or tertiary butyl hypochlorite. But NBS, N-bromosuccinamide, is most common, and when NBS is used in a reaction, that reaction is known as Wolff-Ziegler reaction. So using NBS or using N-bromosuccinamide rather than bromine for allylic bromination solves the problem of undesired addition product of alkene with bromine. This reaction is highly regioselective and takes place only at allylic position. NBS also a highly regioselective brominating agent, alpha position to an aromatic ring, alpha position to an aromatic ring, that position is called as benzylic position, or to an carbon-carbon triple bond, or to an carbonyl group is substituted when you are using bromine, or when double bond and triple bond are there in the same molecule, it prefer the position which is alpha to triple bond. So for this reaction we are using carbon tetrachloride as a solvent, non-polar solvent. So we have learned the selectivity, regioselectivity of NBS. It selectively substitute the alpha hydrogen or allylic hydrogen from any molecule which is near to carbon-carbon double bond, carbon-carbon triple bond, or carbonyl, like that. So students, today we are going to learn addition to multiple bonds. This is one of the characteristics reaction of radical, that is addition to multiple bonds. So when isobutane react with HBr in presence of H mu and radical initiator, you will get this substituted product, and the addition of HBr to this carbon-carbon double bond, it is takes place according to anti-Markovnikov's rule. So the bromine radical will add to that carbon radical which having more number of hydrogen atom, and the addition of HBr takes place on the basis of anti-Markovnikov's rule. So you can easily understand the addition takes place on the basis of anti-Markovnikov's rule. So we will see its reaction mechanism. So this mechanism should be here. So in the first step, how this reaction go, that is we'll see step by step mechanism of this reaction, addition of HBr to this isobutene. So in the first step, the dialkyl peroxide, this your dialkyl peroxide is homolyzed, or homolysis of this dialkyl peroxide takes place in presence of heat or light to give two alkoxy radical, these are the two alkoxy radicals. So the in the first step, homolysis of this dialkyl peroxide takes place, and you will get two alkoxy radical, these are the two alkoxy radical. In the second step, the alkoxy radical, RO radical, abstract H from HBr, it abstracting H from HBr to give Br radical, and this is called as radical substitution reaction. So this alkoxy radical abstract hydrogen from this HBr, convert to ROH alcohol and generate bromine free radical. This is your bromine free radical. Then in the third step, your bromine will add to isobutene, and here the addition takes place on the basis of anti-Markovnikov's rule. Bromine add to the carbon that having more number of hydrogen. So when this bond breaks homolytically, when this carbon-carbon double bond breaks homolytically, you will get two radicals, this CH2 and this C radical. This C radical having less number of hydrogen, and this C radical having more number of hydrogen. So this bromine radical will add to the carbon, that carbon which having more number of hydrogen. So in the third step, Br adds to isobutene to give carbon center radical, and addition takes place on the basis of anti-Markovnikov's rule. Now in the third step, so in the third step, the carbon center radical, whatever the carbon center radical generated in the first step, so this carbon center radical abstract hydrogen, it abstract hydrogen from HBr to form a final addition product, and generate bromine free radical which react with another alkene molecule, and the reaction will continue till the completion of reaction. So this is a simple reaction, addition to multiple bond, addition of HBr to isobutene, and its reaction mechanism, how that addition takes place. So again I am explaining this. This is your alkene react with bromine in presence of H mu, and radical initiator dialkyl peroxide radical, and you will get this addition product, and the addition reaction takes place on the basis of anti-Markovnikov's rule. The bromine radical add to the carbon that having more number of hydrogen atom. We'll see its reaction mechanism, how that reaction goes, how that addition of HBr to that isobutene takes place. We'll see a step-by-step explanation of that reaction, so you can easily understand that how that HBr will add to that carbon-carbon double bond. So this is the first step. In the first step, a sigma bond between this dialkyl peroxide breaks homolytically. The homolysis takes place in presence of light. You'll get this 2 alkoxy radical. In the second step, the alkoxy radical abstract hydrogen from HBr, generate bromine radical and alcohol. This is about second step. RO abstract hydrogen from HBr. So this arrow should be single-headed. It's my mistake. This arrow should be single-headed. So it abstract hydrogen and generate bromine free radical. Then in the third step, the bromine radical adds to isobutene to give carbon center radical, and the addition reaction takes place on the basis of anti-Markovnikov's rule. The bromine radical adds to the carbon which having high number of hydrogen or more number of hydrogen. So this, when this double bond breaks homolytically, you will get two radicals, C radical and CH2 radical. So bromine will add to this CH2 radical because CH2 having more number of hydrogen, and you will get carbon centered radical. Because radical is on carbon, that's what is called as carbon centered radical. Now in the third step, the carbon center radical abstract hydrogen from HBr to form the final addition product, and regenerate bromine which react with another molecules of alkene. This is all about addition of HBr to carbon-carbon double bond and its reaction mechanism. So in the next slide, we'll see radical chain reaction, conversion of ethylene into polyethylene. It's a radical chain reaction because when the reaction proceeds, you will get the polymer. The reaction continues. That is called as radical chain reaction. Reaction continues and you will get the chain of that, and you will get a chain there. The chain reaction continues. Conversion of ethylene into polyethylene is a radical chain reaction. So ethylene on polymerization in presence of free radical initiator such as benzoyl peroxide gives polyethylene. The polymerization takes place via free radical mechanism and involves three steps. The polymerization of ethylene to polyethylene in presence of benzoyl peroxide takes place via three steps. So the first step is benzoyl peroxide on heating gives benzyloxy radical. Benzoyl peroxide in on heating you'll get benzyloxy radical. So benzoyl peroxide having this peroxide bond in presence of heat, the homolysis of this weak bond takes place and you will get this benzyloxy radical. Then the decomposition of this benzyloxy radical takes place in presence of heat, convert to CO2 and phenyl free radical twice C6H5, because you are having this twice C6H5 CO2, so you are getting two phenyl free radical. Then the form free radical, the form phenyl free radical adds to ethylene molecule producing another free radical. The form phenyl free radical add to ethylene molecules and producing another carbon center free radical. This is first step, initiation step. So the role of this initiator is over here. It initiates the reaction. So this second step is propagation step. The free radical form above step. This one, the free radical form in the above step. This C6H5CH2 CH2 radical adds to another molecule of ethylene. The successive addition of free radical into alkene result into the propagation step and the chain reaction takes place and the chain reaction continues. So this C6H5CH2 radical will react with another molecule of CH2. Here the number of steps takes place, number of steps takes place, number of CH2 molecule will react with this. This step is continuous and you will get C6H5 as CH2, CH2 and means you are having number of CH2, you are having polymer, you are having number of this CH2, CH2 group within that bracket. So end step you will get this carbon center radical. This is called as polymer. Then the third step, the long chain free radical can be terminated. This long chain free radical, the long chain free radical polymer can be terminated by radical coupling. So coupling means coupling of two radical molecule or disproportionation or the disproportionation of that radical polymer. So here you are having this 2CH2, the coupling of this two molecule takes place, you will get this C6H5CH2 n plus 1 and C6, so what you are getting this polymer. This is called as coupling reaction or this one disproportionation reaction. This CH2 takes hydrogen from this CH2, converts to CH3 and again this CH2 and this CH2 radical will combine, you will get this ethene. So this is radical disproportionation reaction. So this is the preparation of your polyethylene bags. So in company, in polymer industry, so they are using this reaction to generate your polythene bags that you are using in your daily life. Now the polythene has been banned by the government due to the pollution. So this is the reaction, simple reaction, how to convert that ethylene into polyethylene by radical chain reaction. So again I am explaining that to for better understanding. Ethylene on polymerization in presence of free radical initiator such as benzoyl peroxide as a benzyloxy as a benzoyl peroxide to use polyethylene ethylene on polymerization in presence of free radical initiator such as benzoyl peroxide. Use polyethylene. The polymerization takes place via free radical mechanism and involves three steps. The polymerization, the conversion of this ethylene to polyethylene, takes place via polymerization reaction or radical polymerization reaction, and the polymerization takes place via free radical mechanism. Polymerization reaction takes place via free radical mechanism, and that free radical polymerization involves three steps. That is, first one is initiation, second one is propagation, and third one is termination. So in the first step, the benzoyl peroxide on heating gives benzyloxy free radical, which gives phenyl free radical. So this benzoyl peroxide breaks homolytically the weak bond, that is, this bond is weak bond, and this bond breaks homolytically in presence of heat. You will get benzyloxy radical. This benzyloxy radical, this decomposition of this benzyloxy radical takes place in presence of heat. You will get phenyl free radical and carbon dioxide. Then this phenyl free radical adds to ethylene molecule, producing another free radical. The free radical form in the above step. Now the second step, propagation step. The free radical form in the above step adds to another molecule of ethylene. The successive addition of free radical into alkane result into the propagation of chain reaction. Here this is the chain reaction. The number of molecule will continue to add CH2, 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 CH2 like that. The propagation step continues, and you will get the polymer, bulky polymer. Then the third step, the long chain free radical can be terminated. Now the stopping of that reaction, you have to terminate that. You have to stop that reaction. So how to stop that? By coupling or a disproportionation. So here in last step, this is you are having these two molecules, 2C6H5 CH2 radical. So the coupling of these two molecules will take place. You will get this compound coupling reaction by coupling reaction, and the second one is by disproportionation. So disproportionation, this CH2 radical abstract hydrogen from this CH2, generate CH3, convert to alkane, and again after abstracting this hydrogen, it will generate carbon radical. This carbon radical will combine with this radical. Let me show you by using pen. So this is radical. This radical will these are the double head arrow combined with this, and you will get this alkene as a product by disproportionation. Then we'll see the next step. We'll see the next slide. So the another important reaction of radical is auto-oxidation reaction. And the name itself suggests that the molecule or the compound undergoes auto-oxidation. So the spontaneous oxidation of organic molecule. The spontaneous oxidation of organic molecules in presence of air, oxygen, is called as auto-oxidation. The spontaneous oxidation of organic molecule in presence of oxygen is called as auto-oxidation. So for example, ether solvent undergoes auto-oxidation so readily that if stored for a long time, it oxidizes itself and and form some amount of hydroperoxide. Hydroperoxide products are unstable. They are highly unstable. The hydroperoxide products are highly unstable and decomposes violently when heated. When you heat that hydroperoxide, it violently decomposes. So this is the your diethyl ether. You are having this ethyl group. Diethyl ether in presence of oxygen convert to hydroperoxide of diethyl ether. Now we will see how this diethyl ether convert to hydroperoxide of diethyl ether. To understand this, we'll see its reaction mechanism. Reaction mechanism is nothing but it is a step-by-step explanation of reaction, how the bond breaking, how the bond formation takes place during the completion of that, or during the process of that reaction. When the reaction proceeds, a lot of bond formation and bond breaking takes place, and to get the final product that is called as reaction mechanism. The reaction mechanism nothing but it is a step by step explanation of your reaction. So this the conversion takes place. The first, this oxygen molecule breaks homolytically. So I will show you that this is oxygen molecule. So you are having this double headed arrow. So it breaks homolytically. So you are having two lone pair on each oxygen atom. These are the lone pair. So it breaks homolytically. Now each oxygen you are having 5 electron. So these are the oxygen radical. Then this oxygen radical react with this diethyl ether. This oxygen radical abstract hydrogen and convert to hydroperoxide radical and generate carbon center radical. Then these two radical will combine and you will get ether hydroperoxide. You will get this ether hydroperoxide. So the mechanism for auto-oxidation involves abstraction of hydrogen from the carbon bearing oxygen of ether oxygen by a molecule. So this oxygen molecule abstract hydrogen which is near to oxygen of an ether molecule and generate carbon center radical and hydroperoxide radical. Now in this step, these two radical, hydroperoxide radical and carbon center radical will combine, will react with each other to form ether hydroperoxide, This is all about auto-oxidation, its definition, example, and its reaction mechanism. The spontaneous oxidation of organic molecules in presence of air, oxygen, is called as auto-oxidation. So this ether molecule, ether undergoes auto-oxidation. We'll get this hydroperoxide of diethyl ether, and we'll see its reaction mechanism. So in reaction mechanism, the oxygen molecule breaks homolytically. You will get this oxygen radical. Then in the next step, that oxygen radical abstract hydrogen which is attached to the carbon. So this oxygen radical abstract hydrogen. In mechanism what happened? The auto-oxidation involves abstraction of hydrogen from the carbon bearing ether oxygen. This is your carbon bearing ether oxygen by an oxygen molecule. It leads to the formation of radical and hydroperoxide radical. So it leads to the formation of this carbon radical or hydroperoxide radical. Then in the third step, these two radicals will combine with each other or will react with each other to form ether hydroperoxide to form ether hydroperoxide. So this is all about the reaction mechanism. And say we'll see this next example. Similarly, the furan can undergoes auto oxidation to form a explosive peroxide. So this furan in terms of initiator, it takes hydrogen from this and generate this furan radical, and this furan radical will stabilize by resonance. No, will stabilize by this oxygen, and you will get this furan radical. Then this furan radical will react with oxygen. Auto oxidation of that furan takes place. So first this oxygen molecule breaks homolytically. So I will show you how that breaks homolytically. So this is your oxygen. Consider these are the oxygen. The bond between that oxygen is the bond, and this molecule will break homolytically like this. Oxygen molecule will break homolytically, and you will get this is arrow, and you will get this is your oxygen, and this is your oxygen. You will get this. These are the radicals. This is your oxygen radical. Then this generated oxygen radical will react with this furan. It takes hydrogen. uh, it uh, it will combine with this furan radical. You will get this product, and then this furan peroxide react with another furan molecule. It takes hydrogen from this and convert explosive. This is your explosive furan hydroperoxide. This furan hydroperoxide is explosive, and it decomposes. It is highly unstable and it decomposes violently, explosive, and you will get this furan radicals. This is all about how this furan undergoes auto oxidation to form explosive peroxide. The mechanism is very simple. I already explained you. This furan react with R radical, generate furan radical. Then this furan radical react with oxygen molecules. For the first oxygen, this is your oxygen, breaks homolytically. This is your arrow. Eraser. Pen. Now this looks like arrow. This arrow generate radical. These are the two radical, oxygen radical. Then that oxygen radical will react with this furan and generate. It will react with that, generate this furan hydroperoxide. Then react with furan, takes hydrogen from that, generate this explosive furan hydroperoxide and furan radical. Is all about reaction mechanism. Then we'll see the next slide. Next slide, the synthesis of cumene hydroperoxide. Synthesis of cumene hydroperoxide from cumene. So this cumene undergoes auto oxidation in presence of oxygen, and you will get this cumene hydroperoxide. Now we'll see how this auto oxidation reaction takes place. How that cumene is converted to cumene hydroperoxide. This is its reaction mechanism. How this reaction goes. It is a step by step explanation. We'll see step by step. So this oxygen molecule breaks homolytically in presence of light. In presence of it does not require light, but it undergoes auto oxidation or auto breaking of that. You will get this oxygen radical. Then this oxygen radical will react with this cumene. You know that this middle carbon having one hydrogen, so it abstract that hydrogen, convert to hydroperoxide and generate cumene radical. Once it generates the cumene radical, the next step is that cumene radical will react with this hydroperoxide and you will get this cumene hydroperoxide. So this is the simple reaction mechanism, the auto oxidation of cumene to cumene hydroperoxide. So in reaction mechanism, the oxygen molecule breaks homolytically. We'll get this oxygen radical. The pi bond will break, one electron shift on this oxygen, one electron shift on this oxygen. So each oxygen having 5 electron already. So each electron having 5 electron. So here 2 electrons should be there. So let me show you. So this oxygen also having radical. This oxygen having 4 radical. This also having 4 radical. Sorry, it's not radical. This oxygen having 4 electron, non-bonded electron bond pair, lone pair. It's a lone pair. Lone pair. This oxygen having 2 lone pair. This oxygen having 2 lone pair. And when it break this double bond, this pi bond having uh, this pi bond is formed by sharing of 2 electron. So that bond break homolytically. So one electron shift on this oxygen and another electron shift on this oxygen. You will get now each oxygen having 5 electron. These are the lone pair. The lone pair, not a bond pair, not electron. It's a lone pair. So each oxygen having 5 electron. Now this oxygen radical will react with this cumene. So middle on the middle carbon of this cumene, you are having hydrogen. So that hydrogen will abstracted by this hydrogen oxygen radical, and you will get this carbon center radical. Then by abstracting, you will get this carbon center radical and hydrogen peroxide radical. Then this carbon center radical, cumene radical react with this hydrogen peroxide. You will get this cumene hydroperoxide. Cumene hydroperoxide. This is the simple mechanism how this cumene is converted to cumene hydroperoxide in presence of oxygen. Okay, now thank you. Thank you.